Good day for coming from Gizmo Machines. All right, today I just wanted to chat with my fellow Facebook friends, more especially Malawians who are um, trying to do business. What I wanted to share was that we have a very good environment in Malawi for business. And the reason why we have this environment is because there's a lot of challenges. But I know that most of the times people they find it very difficult to identify these opportunities that are available in our country. And I've been most of the times thinking and saying to myself, why is it that people fail to see all these opportunities? You know, we have a lot of Malawians who are very capable, of doing things and achieving things. But most of Malawians are very innovative. I mean, if you look at how innovative Malawians are, you find that a woman who lives in a very poor environment can actually think to see that there is an opportunity in Malawi. She will collect plastic papers and get water and put it in those plastic papers and then put them in the fridge and then walk in town to sell water for people to drink. I mean, she has identified that there's a need there, that people want water to drink, and she's able to go in town and sell water. You will see a lot of people who are selling this water in plastic bags. And it's very interesting when I watch some of the videos, YouTubers in some other countries like in Gambia, Senegal, and Sierra Leone. I still see also when they're showing us the streets, people are also selling. Even in Nigeria, there's people who are selling water in the plastic bag. I mean, if somebody from that environment can think like that and be able to see an opportunity to make money, why is it so difficult for somebody who actually is much more educated, knowledgeable, to also look at ways of tapping into the opportunities that we have in our country? I think most of the times the reason why people fail to identify these opportunities is because people are scared. Fear is one of the biggest factor that we as Malawians are failing, why we are failing to actually advance in life, because we are always afraid. So whenever you see an opportunity, you are actually so afraid of the challenges that you can face when you're trying to acquire that opportunity. So you'll be focusing on things that can help you to fail to achieve your goals. I see it many times. I see it in the construction industry, I see it in the engineering industry, in so many, even in the farming industry. People are afraid to jump on opportunities because they first start to weigh the things that can go wrong. And I'm telling you, if you're looking for something that can go wrong, you will find a lot of things that can go wrong. Because this universe we are living in, this planet we're living in, it is very difficult to have everything perfect. Nothing is perfect. So when you get something and you see that this thing has been done and it's been done well, but you still find some flaws in it. So if you are looking for flaws, you will always get the flaws. So if we can be able to tackle fear, it will be very easy for people to advance and be able to tap into the opportunities. And I can. There are so many examples I can give when I'm talking about the opportunity. One example I can talk about is, like myself, I like to do research and look at the challenges that we're facing in Malawi and find solutions for those challenges. And I mean, that is why I was able to see that Malawi needed to have some cement blocks. And there was nobody who was there to champion this industry. So I decided to go in. I'm not a rich guy. I had nothing, and I championed it, and I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I'm still achieving what I want to achieve. It didn't make me to be a billionaire, but at least I can buy my food, I can build my house, I can give employment to some people. It's life is a little bit much easier for me because of taking this challenge. And many times I am actually seeing that there are people out there who are failing to see the opportunities because of fear. Yeah? So for instance, when I came up with the idea of the pillars, I did some research on the net, and I saw that you can actually make a precast pillar. And this precast pillar can be used when you're building pillars for your warehouse, you're building pillars for your upstairs house. So you just make a mold and then you have a pillar. This pillar eliminates the need for wood to make shuttering so that you build your upstairs building. And I've been sharing this on Facebook, and I announced there that there's this technology, and if there's some guys who are engineers who are willing to come and look at this technology and assess and see how they can test it and see how we can incorporate it in our industry in Malawi, the construction industry, so that we get rid of using pillars that are made using the shuttering using wood. There is a technology that can be used for the roofing, the upper deck for upstairs buildings. This technology, I spoke to many people. I worked for one of the projects in Likuni, and I discussed this with the engineers there. It didn't work. It didn't even materialize. But this technology can make you to become a billionaire in this country. Now, we always say Malawi doesn't have opportunity, Malawi doesn't have jobs. I see most of the graduates, they're complaining, they're saying, no, there's no opportunity, government doesn't support us. How is government going to support you if you are not being innovative? You need to be innovative and challenge the government and say, look at what we have done, what are you going to do? This technology of the pillar is actually very important when it comes to construction, because now it eliminates the use of wood for making shuttering to make your pillar. Imagine if one of the engineers can say, wow, Ted is able to make this pillar. What if I can go to Ted and sit down with him and look at this technology, and I take it and I do my calculations, and if it passes, I can go to the board of engineers and pitch this technology. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask Ted and say, okay, I can come and help you to approve this technology. But what kind of share am I going to get in the business? So if this technology is going to make us billions, he could be securing himself 10% in the business. So he will just be earning 10% out of that billion for doing nothing. I mean, for just going to use his power to approve this technology. And he can move from me and go to pledge somebody at the airport there, and speak to him and say, I see that you are using ceramic, to make products out of ceramic. How come we can design some ceramic like the ones that ESCOM use, and me, I test it, and then I can go and pitch it and say, instead of buying this ceramic from overseas, why not we make it in Malawi? And you tell Pledge and you say, Pledge, I think I can help you if you can give me a share in your business in this particular technology. So the sales of this ceramic, I can get 10%. So you're getting 10% from Ted's business, you're getting 10% from Pledge's business, you're getting 10. There's a guy in Nchinji who made a tractor. You go to the guy in Nchinji and you say, my friend, I can help you to improve this tractor, and then I can help you to take it to the road traffic to approve it so that it can be accepted. Because I'm an engineer, I'll know what things that are needed and I'll fix those things. Unless, and you, in return, you can give me a share in your business. I can have 10%, 5%. So all the tractors we are going to make in the future, going to be making in the future, I'll be getting 10% loyalty from that. Dividends at the end of the year. But our pure engineers, when they see somebody like Ted, they see somebody who is a threat. And then they say, how can I work with Ted? Because Ted is not educated. They're not saying, look at Ted, he's coming up with these kind of ideas which are linked into my field, which is engineering, and if I can work with Ted, and him being also an innovator plus an entrepreneur who can identify opportunities, I could link up with him and help him to approve some of his technologies and then get some dividends out of his technology. But no, if I work with Ted, what will people say? How do you team up with somebody who is not educated? Or if I work with Ted, Ted is going to become popular and famous because of me. And that is why we are failing to actually be able to advance in our country. Because the people who are holding the knowledge, they are the ones who are also not being open to collaboration, and they're not acting as entrepreneurs. We need entrepreneurship in the engineering field. We need people who are able to see opportunities, to be able to see that, okay, there's this guy in Kanengo, Arthur Chihana, he comes up with these technologies, he fixes diesel engines, and he comes up with this thing, he can find ways of making this and that. If I can go and work with him, I can help him to tune up this particular type of technology, and then we can go and pitch it and approve it so that it can be used in our fields, in whatever fields we are doing in Malawi. And then, as a result, when he's making his sales, I get myself a certain percent of his business. You can be this one engineer who's got shares in so many little small businesses in Malawi and just making money. There's a guy in Kanengo, he's making milling machines for milling flour and all those kind of things and stuff. Or there's a guy who can make a machine that makes mincemeat. I can go there and help him so that we make these things so that it can work properly, so that also it can be approved, because foodstuffs, it's very difficult for them to be approved because they need some certain standards, and I can go and help this guy and get a share in his business. That's entrepreneurship. And very soon you'll be able to hear that Ted is opening a branch in Gambia. And many people are going to be saying, but how did Ted do it? I mean, where did he get the money for him to go to Gambia and be able to open a business? No, I didn't get the money. There's some American guy, black guy, and American British black guy who has decided to put $10,000 in Ted's business. I said, Ted, let's go and do this business in West Africa. You say that you have spotted an opportunity in West Africa. I'm going to help you. I'm going to have 10% in your business. Let's go to Gambia. And then suddenly, Ted is doing business in Gambia. The next thing you hear that Ted is linked with some Jamaican and is opening another branch in Kenya. But then you wonder and say, but we saw the guy when he was starting, and he was around us, but we never thought. I mean, I went to pitch so many times at Crossroads. I pitched my technology. I pitched the wheelbarrow. I wanted to develop a pump. When I went there and I pitched, there was a lot of people with high calibers, engineers and quantity surveyors and all those kind of people. I went there to pitch my business so that they can buy a share in my business. But many questions that people asked were like, Ted, what's your education qualification? Then I said, no, my qualification is a Form 4 qualification. They said, but now Ted, how do you see yourself being able to convince the people there and say that this technology will work when you don't have any backing for you to? Then I said, but that's why I'm here. I am here because I'm expecting that some guy who is an engineer is going to say, I'm going to invest in Ted's business. My job will be to help Ted to approve these technologies using the skill that I have, the powers that I have. And then as a result, I'm going to get 15% of the business that is of his business. But we don't think like that. All we do is, most of the times, it's politics. When it comes, if people must sit down and analyze politics in Malawi, we are the best at doing that. But when we want to analyze business or think and say, how can I use the environment that I am in Malawi, the knowledge, the skills that people have, the innovations that are in Malawi, how can I harness them for me to actually benefit? How can I be the guy that helps the man that is suffering in Kanengo, trying to expose his technology or his innovation? How can I be the one who's able to help him and lift him? At the meantime, I'm also benefiting from it. Be an entrepreneur. You can actually become so rich making money from just investing in small little businesses that are here in Malawi. There's such a lot of opportunities in Malawi that people don't even notice it. Why? Because of fear. We are so afraid of losing our status. We are so afraid of other people taking over of our career that we have. We don't realize that we can use our career, our education, our qualification to benefit somebody, and as a result, be able to make money without even sweating for it. So that's why I wanted to actually share this and discuss, so that people can really understand, more especially the young graduates who are just finishing school. If you went to university and you studied and you get yourself a degree, you're struggling out there, you can't get a job, remember, you've got power. Even though you don't have a job, you have got power to go to the head of the engineering department, the president of the engineers, and say, I've got this technology. This technology can help to get rid of the deforestation in Malawi. And because of these calculations that I've done, it's actually better than the system that is being used now. And this machine can be made in Malawi. In the meantime, you are not the one who's building that technology. There's a certain guy in Kanengo or in Ndirande who is building this technology. You are just helping to expose it, and then the head of the engineering department, they will look at it and say, they will analyze it, they will study, the engineers will come there with all your scrutinies, and you say, this is passing, and then you let it pass. Immediately you go and protect that technology. If anybody comes from outside with a similar technology, they can't use it in Malawi because it's there already. And our government starts supporting this technology and say, we can only work in our government projects using this type of technology. The guy who invented this thing becomes a billionaire, and the engineer who approved this is also getting dividends every year from the business. And then you do it with somebody else in agriculture sector, in other different areas. And then at the end of the day, this engineer, one day he gets his award for being one of the biggest engineer award achievers in Malawi. In the meantime, all these technologies he's able to uplift are being created by people, small guys on the ground. I heard one day Maya was saying that some of these technologies, when he wants to make them, he goes to these young, like these guys in the street, they gives them the ideas and they do it for him, and he brings it, and then he goes on and adds his technology and he moves on. That's the best way to do it. But if you are always saying, but those guys are not educated, trying to convince the heads of engineering to say, okay, we want to ban everybody who's doing anything with engineering. They mustn't do unless they are certified. It won't help. Because we are a poor country. You can't stop people, the guy in Kanengo, from not making a machine because he doesn't have a qualification engineer. You can't stop him. You can't do that. How is he going to survive? And how many people are out there doing these things? We are thousands and thousands of us who are doing these things. So for you to stop those thousands from doing the practice what they're doing, then the country is going to go down, because part of the economy, the part of the biggest part of our economy is actually coming from people like us. 70% of the people in Malawi are self-employed, and out of that 70%, almost another 90% of those people are not educated. So actually, the economy of Malawi is being run by people who are not educated. So if you try to block those people from doing what they're doing because they're not educated, where is Malawi going to go? And I'm telling you, if our guys, graduates, were thinking outside the box, we're taking advantage of these opportunities that are there, I don't think I would have even have a place in Malawi to be able to practice what I'm doing. It would have been very difficult. Because for the first thing, I'm disadvantaged. I don't have the qualification to compete with a guy who's got a degree, who has spent 6-7 years mastering this system. That machine I'm making, he would have made it with calculations and even know the PSI or whatever pressure it's stamping to make a block. He would have been able to know that. I don't even know it. I just make it, and my customers, they take my blocks, go for testing, they pass. I don't even know how much PSI or pressure it's doing. It's just doing the job. So you think if these guys were all over Malawi practicing their engineering technologies, you think people would have been coming to buy a machine? Never. But we are able to come in there because you guys are not using the skills that you've learned. You're not taking advantage of the situation that is in Malawi There are all these challenges. You don't want to solve them. You want us to solve those challenges because you believe that a person needs to sit in the office and do calculations. But me, I've worked with engineers in South Africa. The first person to teach me how to hold a grinder was an engineer. That guy used to wear a khaki short like the way I'm wearing. I learned to wear khaki shorts. I learned to wear these khaki shorts from that white guy. Because his name was Klaus Lobscher. The guy was a hard worker. He used to tell me, Ted, when we do any job we do, we must do 100%. If we do 99.9%, we have failed. That's the engineer. Every morning when he came to pick me up, he used to put safety boots, wearing his shorts, and then we go. His job was to plant tanks in wineries. And we will work together with spanners and grinders, working together, welding machines. First time I saw a plasma cutter with this guy. Engineer. So that's what the engineer that I know. I know they say, no, engineer needs to sit in the office, do the calculation, draw diagrams and stuff, and then give people like Ted to do, to make the things that, whatever is supposed to be done. It doesn't work like that. An engineer at his house, is in the garage, you have benches with grinders and drill presses and stuff. When he knocks off from work, he's busy making stuff that new innovations, ideas that he must implement. And he say, this challenge we are having, there's people in the village there, they're struggling because of this and that. Let me try to make a machine that will go and solve that problem and all that stuff. Then one day you hear that, oh, this engineer who's for Coca-Cola, he has made a machine that is helping people in the villages to do this and this. That's what I know. So guys, this country has a lot of opportunities. Don't look at these people who are stealing money from our government. Let's look at people. Let's look at the opportunities and the problems, the challenges, how we can solve this problem. Forget about politics. If you're educated, if you've got your papers, your degree, don't sit on Facebook to talk about politics. Sit on Facebook to talk about what you're doing, the business you're doing, how inspire other people. Spend your data bundles to do research on YouTube, Google, come up with ideas. A lot of people are asking me, I must make a machine that will shreds food, grass from the bush for feeding animals. That's an opportunity. And is that thing, you just need a generator, a few pulleys, some fan belts, and then you buy these springs that are used as for the springs that you put on a pickup, and then you straighten them and you sharpen them to make blades, and then it will start cutting those things. And a few sheet metals that you can make, and then there you go. You have made yourself a shredder. And then one thing you hear, Ted has made a shredder, and farmers are just going to Ted. But it can be done by you guys, and you will make a better one than mine. Sometimes even computerized. You guys are learning advanced things that you can even make that thing to be computerized. It will even feed itself the grass, and it will chop it out, and it will switch off when it will lock when something goes wrong, and it will even give you an error code and all these kind of things. Don't waste your time with politics. But main thing is to remove the fear. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of Ted. Don't be afraid of Arthur Chihana. Don't be afraid of Preach Sambo. Embrace those people and say, how can I work with these guys? These guys are very innovative. I can work with them, and we can come up with something, and I can take it to the engineering board and approve it, and then pitch to the government, and then the government will be buying these things or using this technology which is made by Malawians, and we become billionaires. And then when it has worked with a government, we can go to the government of Mozambique and the government of Zambia and government of Tanzania, and then they'll say, hey, Malawi is a technology hub. Malawi becomes a technology hub because Malawi has got a lot of intelligent people, smart guys who can think. Our boats there at the lake shouldn't be made out of stumps of trees. We be, as in Malawi, making boats for ourselves. We shouldn't buy boats from outside. By now, we should be able to make jet skis. There's guys who can do fiberglass in Malawi. We can make jet skis. We can make anything. So yeah, this is what I just wanted to share. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also leave a comment. Thank you.